Recognizing that peaceful protests are a hallmark of a thriving democracy, the U.S. has said it welcomes steps that will improve the efficiency of India's markets and attract greater private sector investment. This is pertaining to the farm laws. The U.S. Embassy spokesperson in New Delhi also said, "We recognize that peaceful protests are a hallmark of any thriving democracy, and note that the Indian Supreme Court has stated the same. We encourage that any difference between the parties be resolved through dialogue. In general, the U.S. welcomes steps that would improve the efficiency of India's markets and attract greater private sector investment." On the issue of internet restrictions at the farmer protest site, the statement goes on to say, "We recognize that unhindered access to information, including the internet, is fundamental to the freedom of expression and a hallmark of a thriving democracy." Well, to talk more about this, we're now joined by Kanwal Sibal, a former Foreign Secretary. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Your reaction, firstly, this whole issue of the farmers' protest getting a lot of international attention. Now the U.S. statement in which it talks about, how it encourages private investment and at the same time talks about the internet ban that is in place at the farmer protest sites.
I think the U.S. State Department has issued a very... it is a hot-button topic, and they have taken a position which is sensible to my mind and balanced. It has supported the legislation and recognized that this gives the farmers greater market access and will bring in private sector investment. This is important because there are a few individual U.S. congressmen who are responding to pressure from local lobbies, Indian diaspora, obviously, to make statements which are critical, as well as some statements that have been made by celebrities and social media activists. So the United States government is officially disowning this by taking a position which is contrary to the criticism that has been made with regard to access to internet. That is a standard U.S. position because U.S. controls the internet. They don't want a fracturing of the internet, and they have to take a position which has to keep the global situation in mind. If they support restrictions on internet in India, and if tomorrow these restrictions are imposed elsewhere, as they are constantly, then they can't take different positions. So they've taken a general position that access to internet should not be denied. But I don't see it as a criticism. It is a general statement of U.S. policy. And I'm sure that in our private conversations with the United States on this issue, they would recognize the validity of the actions government is taking in order to prevent further violence, which is often stoked by the social media. And this is something which is recognized all over the world, that the social media is abused. In itself, the social media is a good thing, but when it is abused for nefarious purposes or to stoke violence or to promote disruptive agendas, then governments have to take some restrictive action, limited in time and scope, but it is necessary.
Right. We're also joined by former diplomat Vishnu Prakash. Ambassador Prakash, what is your view on this statement that has been released by the U.S. and also this issue of the internet ban at these farmer protest sites? That is something that has got, attracted a lot of attention and got a reaction. Some of the celebrities have also tweeted regarding this internet ban. In fact, that's the article that they've tweeted on.
Gargi, greetings. Nice to talk to you. What the U.S. State Department spokesperson has said in response to a question is stating the obvious. He says that we recognize that peaceful protests are a hallmark of any thriving democracy, and so do we. About the Indian Supreme Court, they have noted, which is factual, and that differences should be resolved through a dialogue that is factual. We have already had 11 rounds of discussion. So now, in terms of the internet, I think that there is, U.S. as a developed country has its own position. We are government of India knows what is happening on ground. We are the best judge of our situation. And if temporary measures are taken to ensure that violence, it does not result into violence or disturbance, I think that is a right of any government to take that decision. And there cannot be one yardstick that fits all. Didn't the Twitter handle of President Trump was suspended or frozen for all times to come. So every country takes decisions on merits, and I don't see any difficulty on that score.